Hello students, I am Ishan Trivedi. Welcome you in the video lecture series. Today we are going to discuss about various important theories related to building drawing. Topics to be covered in these sessions are key plan, site plan, layout plan, information collected prior to the planning of residential building, selection of site of a residential building, and minimum standard dimensions which are required for planning of any residential building. So let us start with the key plan. It is designed for the purpose of for the location of site of a construction in any region. The purpose can be used in key plan to reach at the site. One is referring the key plan to reach to the site location. This plan shows main roads, well-known buildings as landmarks, and here the scale of this key plan is 1 in 10,000. In key plan, it shows the important features like surrounding properties under its reference. Next is site plan. The purpose of site plan is to locate the property with reference to the existing properties in all four dimensions and the adjacent road. The plan shows land boundary, margin, construction area, streets, building on adjacent roads, services like water supply, drainage and power supply. Here, the scale would vary depending upon the land ownership. If the size is more, then the scale is 1 in 1000. If the size is up to 1 hectare, then the scale is 1 gem 500. It shows the boundary of site and the relation to neighboring streets. Next is layout plan. In case of very large area under the development containing number of buildings, layout plan is preferred. Example is residential colony, college campus, industrial parks. In this layout plan, the location of various buildings, roads, amenities, park, landscaping, refreshment area are included. Here, the scale is 1 in 500. It also shows the direction of north in plan area. So more or less, you can say it is a plan of any residential area or any scheme. You have seen many schemes where at the entrance the typical layout plan or key location of each property by the number is determined. So these are the important working drawing features which are helpful in drawing. Next is information collected prior to the planning of any residential building. Here, two types of instructions are collected. First is data collected by an architect and planner during site visit and the information collected from owner itself. So here, first is data collected by the architect or planner during site visit. This information includes availability of water, availability of electricity, drainage facilities, north direction, trees, desirable views, level of roads on plots, then shape and size of plot, existing structures in neighborhood plots, then interval level of municipal drainage. These parameters are very essential by the availability of source of water to the land area as well as the municipality and the surrounding ground level. Then rainfall, maximum, minimum, temperature in summer and winter is also noticed. Then availability of construction material, type of locality, who is residing nearby the area, then type of soil, subsoil, water level, access roads, then overhead high tension lines, and at last telephone line crossing in the plot. So these are the information are collected by the architect or planner during the site visit. Now, information collected from the owner. Here, the owner is client and we as a planner or architect are service provider. So, as we have collected certain technical information, now we need to acquire informations from owner. These informations includes number of persons who are living in the house and their age, profession of owner, accommodation required, servants accommodation added on or in outhouse, then kitchen whether it is with separate or combined with dining area, separate room for puja, hobby of honor, car parking or separate garage, then ground floor accommodation, how many number of rooms are acquired at ground floor and the first floor, basement storeroom, storage tank for water, type of its capacity, solar water heating system, then roof type, whether it can be pitch, flat, it can be anything. Then location and its entrance, veranda and otlas, porch, study room, dressing room, office, etc. are mandatory things. Then staircase with internal or external access to common room or the outside access, then floor finish type, it can be differ by various materials, then bathroom, number of attached or separate bathrooms, WC whether it is of Indian or Western, then finishes and fixtures in WC, bath and kitchen as well. Then electrical fittings open or concealed and provision for furniture construction. So these are the information which are mandatory and collected from the owner while designing a house. Now, the theory is site selection for residential buildings. This site selection includes topography, nature of soil, position of groundwater table, nearness facilities, whether it is utility or amenity services, then neighborhood, vegetation, shape of the site, then availability of labor and materials, proximity to river, canal, any lake, or place of any natural beauty. Then at last, nearness to the industries, education, markets, sewage farm, and so on. So, first and foremost is topography. Topography is of two types, that is plain and the second is sloping in the ground. Plain sites offers easy for marking, excavation and construction. There is no extra efforts required for the leveling of the surface. Next is for the sloping ground. Minimum 1% slope is required for effective drainage. On sloping ground, it is always desirable to have the road in front of building to be at lower level so that there will be easy drainage and easy approach for such things. Next is nature of subsoil. Suitable subsoil for foundation having its high bearing capacity is advisable and it should be at reasonable depth. Certain soil types are essential and must preferred while selecting a site, though it is not mandatory that we have to find that type of soil only, but it is preferred to have or it is advantageous part to have such type of soils. These includes rock, gravels, hand muram and sandy soils. At the same time, there are certain class of soil which must be avoided. These includes clay soils, fibrous soil containing peat or organic matter, reclaimed land like depression or low-lying area filled by garbage and ashes. So these are the nature of subsoil which need to be considered while selecting the site of a building. Next is position of groundwater table. Groundwater table plays important role while determining the site of a building. If the groundwater is available at shallow depth, then it reduces the soil bearing capacity as it discussed in Nature of Subsoil and causes uneven settlement and promotes dampness in the building. Sometimes we have faced dampness would occur at the bottom part of wall. So it is just because of increase in the groundwater table. If water table is at greater than the width of footing below the base of footing, it does not affect the bearing capacity of soil. That means if the width of footing is x, so below the ground level, if that much depth means x depth, so water table has to be below the x depth of the footing. Next is facilities. As I said earlier, these facilities includes utilities and amenities. Utilities such as drinking water supply, electric power supply, drainage and gas supply. Whereas amenities includes schools, hospitals, recreation and telephone services. Even transport facilities such as city bus stop, railway station should be nearer to the site. Next is neighborhood. While planning a residential building in a locality, it is one of the important factors to consider the economical status of the residents in local level, and a good neighborhood is essential for pleasing living as it deals with the comfort and safety of inmates. Next is vegetation. A site having trees, shrubs and bushes over it is to be preferred to a bare and barren site. Trees with fruits and flowers give pleasing atmosphere. Next is shape of a site. The shape of the plot or site should not be very irregular, as we preferred a rectangular shape having length to width ratio 2:1. Then availability of labors and materials. Good quality of construction material such as stones, brick, sand, aggregate, cement, lime, timber and water should be available nearer to the site. Next is proximity of river, lake, seashore, place of natural beauty. Site along the seashore is good for the enjoyment point of view, but sometimes sea breeze being damp and which is not good for health. Even all the metallic fittings are liable to be corroded. So the site should command good view of landscape such as river, lake and hill. And at last, nearness of market, industries, sewage farm and education industries. Certain things we do not prefer to be at a residential area. These includes market and cinema house, which sometimes creates noise even at midnight. Then industries, sewage farm, garbage disposal at land, brick or lime kilns, busy highways, railway, aerodromes and slaughterhouse and cemeteries. So this should be away from the residential area. So these are the factors which are influence for the residential building plan. Next is the minimum size of different component of a building. Here the list of various component of a residential building is given, whereas the area in meter square, their minimum width which is required and minimum height is also been given. The entire thing is applicable when the plot area is more than 50 meters square. So first is habitable room, where the area has to be minimum 9.5 meters square, where the any one dimension, here I am mentioning with the width, minimum width is 2.4 meter, whereas the height, that is of standard height but minimum 2.75 meter has to be provided. Then for kitchen, the minimum area is 5 meter square, minimum width is 1.8 meter and the height is again 2.75 meter. For bathroom, the area is 1.8 meter square. Even at least any one dimension has to be 1.2 meter. Then the height can be reduced and it is up to 2.1 meter. If the bathroom is separate, then you can provide up to 2.1 meter height. Even for WC, you can see here the height is again 2.1 meter. If these things are separate, you can provide minimum 2.1 meter height for both the components. Even for water closet, minimum area is 1.1 meter square, where one dimension means the width is 0.9 meter has to be there. Then if both the units and both the lavatories are combined, even bath and WC, then the area has to be 2.8 meter square, the width is 1.2, whereas the height is 2.1 meter. It is minimum height, you can take it up to 3 meter, no worries or nothing is wrong in that. Then next is storeroom. The minimum area is 3 meter square and its height is again minimum height is 2.1 meter. For garage, the area is 18 meter square, width is 3 meter and the height is 2.4 meter. Now coming to the doors, where if the door is provided at entrance or in a living room or in a habitable room, the width is 0.9 meter, it is minimum, you can take it up to 1, 1.2 and 1.5 and height is 2.1 meter. If it is in kitchen, bathroom and WC, the width is reduced and it is up to 0.75 and the height is 2 meter. Then for windows, the height is 1.1 meter, it is minimum, you can take 1.2, nothing is wrong in that. Then sill level means from the floor level to the bottom of window, that is called sill level, that is minimum 0.9 and we will take that dimension too. Then staircase, riser maximum for residential building is 0.19 meter. Trade is 0.25 meter, whereas the width of a staircase minimum is 1 meter. You can take 1, 1.2. In public building, it starts with 1.5 meter. So these are the minimum size of different component of a building. So I'm ending this session here. I hope you have learned certain concepts which are connected to the drawing theories. Thanks for watching this video.